At number 8 is Coast Rider. This is literally my 5th least favorite roller coaster. The reason for this is, as many of you know, the shin guards, or just the restraints in general. Whenever you take a sharp turn, which happens a lot on this ride, and whenever you hit any brakes, you are lurched forward into your restraint, so it feels like you're getting punched in the gut and kicked in the shins at the same time. I mean, that was a bit over-exaggerated, but kinda like that. No roller coaster in the world has ever physically hurt me, but this has gotten pretty close. From now on, all of the roller coasters are bearable. Yay! I find this ride less thrilling, but more like a scenic ride around the area. There's a lot of places where the ride just straightens out and you get to admire the view of the park. And when the ride isn't doing straight track, it's giving you super fun, janky turns and hills. You can get pushed from one side of the car to the other side, which is pretty fun. Next, we have Pony Express. This ride is kind of like Jaguar, but much shorter and more modern. The profiling is less janky, and the ride is smoother. The seating arrangement is really fun, but sometimes the restraint can go down too hard and you can have trouble breathing. The only problem is, after the launch, you only have 4 elements. Yes, this ride is 4 elements long. There's a high turn that gives decent laterals, there's an airtime hill that doesn't give airtime, there's a twisted hill that doesn't give airtime, and there's one last turn that's in a tunnel. I know they didn't have a lot of space to work with, but they definitely could have put something better here. Next up is the Mock Family Spinning Coaster at Sierra Sidewinder. A lot of people rave about this coaster, and I can definitely see why. There are many quick transitions, high turns, and gray out moments, and you're spinning while you're doing all of these too. I think this is a great example of how a family coaster in a small space should be used, unlike Pony Express. This is definitely near the line of a family coaster and a throw coaster. And we're finally getting into the throw coasters with Silver Bullet. Getting straight to the point, this is the worst B&M invert in California. That doesn't mean the ride is bad, I actually really like it. It's just that with a layout like this, you can't really spare any elements, and they spared an element. This first drop right here is kind of lame, but thankfully the rest of the layout is really intense. Really intense, but it doesn't have any whip. There's many downsides to this ride, but that doesn't make it a bad ride. I think this is a perfect mid-tier B&M invert. Now, Hang Time is a much more interesting ride than Silver Bullet. This is the first ever Gerstal I've ever ridden. I think this ride is like a B&M invert, but with a very good pops of ejector airtime and more positive Gs. The ride does have a pretty noticeable rattle on the corkscrew and cutback, but it doesn't bother me. The vertical lift wheel is like none other in California, and the holding brake is absolutely terrifying. The lap bars on this ride are the best restraints I've ever experienced. Yeah, they staple you a lot when you get positive Gs, but like, they're so comfortable it doesn't even matter. And this is the point where the rides get elite. Accelerator at Knott's Berry Farm is absolutely insane. The launch feels like you're being blasted out of a gun. The airtime that you get on the top hat is absolutely bonkers with the T-bar restraints. And the turns are, well, the turns are fun, I guess. They're a great way to make the ride go longer, and they're very visually pleasing. But that launch and the top hat, that is probably the best experience I've ever had on a roller coaster, besides maybe X2's first drop. I love this ride to pieces, and the only reason it isn't ranked higher is because of the length. Yeah, the ride is 22 seconds, but it's probably going to be the best 22 seconds of your life on a roller coaster. Well, for me it was, unless you've been on like another Stratocoaster or something. I don't know, I'm just yapping at this point. And to absolutely no one's surprise, Ghost Rider is at number 1. I mean, this is my number 2 overall coaster behind X2, what can I say? I would imagine this ride as a wood and steel vengeance. Huge sprawling elements in the first half, and tiny, more punchier elements in the second half. Also, I just absolutely love wooden coasters. The clickety-clackety feel of it is so cool. And in the second half, weaving in and out of the wooden structure of what you went through the first half is so chaotic and so fun at the same time. If it was a little bit rougher, maybe I'd like it just a little bit more, but then like, that's just getting nitpicky. As a wooden coaster, this ride is so smooth. I think everybody already knows this is an elite roller coaster, so I'll just leave it at that. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.